I, 23F, found secretary fetish porn on my boyfriend's 29 meters phone after he told me about the new assistant, 25I chef, that they hired for him at work, and I'm not sure what to do about it. Hey guys, so exactly like the title says, I'm worried my boyfriend might be fantasizing about his new assistant at work. A couple of weeks ago he told me that they hired a new assistant for him. The whole thing raised my eyebrows from the start, just because he seemed excited about it. When I asked him why he's so excited, he said it's just because he's never had an assistant before, and he never mentioned her again. The other day I saw him smiling at his phone pretty late at night, so I'm ashamed to admit I got a little paranoid and waited until he fell asleep to go through his phone. I didn't find any texts or anything like that, but I found a bunch of open tabs in his browser that were all office themed porn involving a young secretary or assistant. I know what I did was wrong, and I'm not supposed to snoop, but now I'm glad I did it. I normally wouldn't care that he's watching porn, but I can't help but be paranoid that he's thinking about her. I honestly don't know what to do now. I don't want to confront him because of the way I found out, and also because I might be wrong and it could be just a random fetish. TLDR, found out my boyfriend has been jerking off to secretary porn 2 weeks after they hired a new assistant for him, and I'm worried that he's fantasizing about her or something, and I'm not sure what to do now. Now for the comments. Maybe he is fantasizing about the dynamic and not the person. Maybe bring up kinks and ask him if he has any he wants to share. If he opens up, you can ask him if he wants to roleplay with you. Please don't assume he wants to cheat. Do I think that the secretary triggered this fantasy? No. I think it's likely he had this fantasy before, and the secretary brought it back to the surface. That fantasy is all about power, prestige and control. He finally is accomplished enough to be given a secretary. It's a fantasy about being valued and dominant, not a compulsion. Also, I'm glad you realize it wasn't cool of you to go through his phone. I know people who have broken up because of that betrayal of trust. Respecting boundaries is important, even if you are suspicious. Nothing short of someone missing or some sort of tragedy justifies breaking that trust. Totally agree here. It's probably not her, it's the idea. But it gives you a pretty critical clue to where his tendencies point toward. He doesn't like dominant women, he wants a submissive gal. Sounds like you could have quite a bit of fun being the secretary though. And yeah, don't go through his phone. The jealous thing is repellent. As a former 20-something, I seriously don't have to deal with this jealous crap. Might as well be a copyrighted breakup slogan by now. Even more bluntly, although he's almost 30, us men have a near indefinite timeline for getting married and starting a family. Spying and forcing yourself on a dude with an apparently positive career trajectory and by extension, expanding options, is simply not in your best interest. Honestly, you have the ability to fulfill his lust for power, prestige, and control even if it's not your core belief. Don't try to change it, freaking own it, he'll worship your ass. I have this dynamic with my girlfriend, and she's a freaking doctor. I'd give my soul to that woman if she needed it, and she knows that well enough to where she doesn't need to go through my phone. My own brother told her once you don't know just how much power you actually have, and when she brought it to me, I said actually that is true. And please be careful. IDK about everyone saying it's no biggie about the secretary porn. Too much of a coincidence with the timing. If he was into this before he got an assistant, I would think he would have let Op know so they would role play together. It's unfortunate you snooped, but your intuition is telling you something. You'll have to fuss up either way. Maybe ask if you can stop by his work/meet his new assistant, see how he reacts, and tell him then. I know I'll get downvoted to hell. Oh well. Really bad idea, Remo. I mean, even if she's right, the guy isn't really doing anything wrong. Just indulging a fantasy privately. Unless you want to pretend that normal people aren't attracted to others occasionally or find taboo situations exciting. And if it's about cheating, that is an ethics problem. Finding and eliminating a source of attraction really does little here. Here is your ill-advised conversation. A. I noticed you have secretary porn on your computer. B. Oh. Okay. A. And you just got a secretary. Have something to tell me. B. Nope. Just watching it, but I'll switch to something else. Realizing now why he has to justify his choice in porn to wife and getting annoyed. A. Are you attracted to her? B. What? No, that's crazy. Look, I love you and only you. Internal monologue, she's pretty hot and love fantasizing. But would never in a million years act on it. Same with tens of other attractive women I know over the years. A plus B argue intermittently for months over privacy and insecurities revolving around porn and or the person's character. I don't think you're wrong necessarily, you may well be right, but maybe he's always been into this, and she just never knew. The secretary is probably decently attractive, and it probably triggered a what if fantasy relating to office sex. In all honesty, it's not unusual for a real life moment to spark a porn session. You see a hot teacher and look up teacher porn, or a girl at the pool and look up pool sex. Fuck, every time I see Avengers, I usually wank to Scarlett Johansson soon after. If op is fine with him watching porn, I wouldn't think too hard about it. Random things that mean nothing often trigger some stupid need to jerk off. I think you have every right to be hurt and upset. I wonder how your BF would feel if you say, got a new 25 meters personal trainer and he subsequently found personal trainer porn in your internet history. I don't know much about your BF or relationship, but I imagine it would bother him a bit. We women have been so pushed into accepting porn use because IT's due street of far NT as YTS are not real. We are so crazy to be hurt by the thought of our men touching themselves thinking about their F and TRCS of other women. I'm sorry, but that is exactly what you saw. Unless your BF has always watched office porn before his new assistant started, then maybe it's just a theme he really likes. But if he just started seeking it immediately after her starting, I don't think that's a coincidence. Talk to your BF about what you saw. Explain to him how it makes you feel. Don't accuse, but give him the opportunity to take care of you and reassure you. His response to this will speak volumes to his character and the relationship. Keep in mind he may continue to watch office porn in incognito mode or will erase his history, but at least give him an opportunity to know how it makes you feel and go from there. Good luck op. I wonder how your BF would feel if you say, got a new 25 meters personal trainer and he subsequently found personal trainer porn in your internet history. I don't know much about your BF or relationship, but I imagine it would bother him a bit. As a man, I can say that this wouldn't bother me. We all have fantasies and fetishes, and porn is one of the ways to satisfy them without cheating on a partner. Granted, I don't speak for all men, and some men probably would be triggered, but that's due to their insecurity. All I got out of this is tell him you got a new young personal trainer. First off, if you have concerns, talk to him instead of going through his personal shit. That's like relationship 101. Second, it's just a fantasy most likely. If he was attracted to her specifically, he would look at pics of her. And it's a fairly common genre of porn. It's not like diving into some obscure niche like, oh, he just met this friend who is really into My Little Pony, and suddenly he's looking up women dressed as My Little Pony characters pretending to be sexy horses. I feel bad for his assistant. I wouldn't want to work for someone who had sexual fantasies about me. That's an awful power dynamic. Glad I found someone saying this. This is gross. Something being as common as this kind of porn does not mean it shouldn't be questioned. Like another comment, he could just be fantasizing about the dynamic and not the person. It's a massive breach of trust to go through his phone, so I wouldn't bring it up to him, especially if you found no texts. If there is more suspicious behavior, just casually drop something in, like you don't fancy your assistant, do ya? Add her in just a joking way, and then observe his body language. I know it was theoretically wrong, but I'm glad I did it, because now I have something to be baselessly paranoid about. Isn't how anything works. You have trust/jealousy issues. There's not really much else here to comment on. Secretaries are an extremely common trope in porn, so much so that we can't even assume that he has a secretary fantasy. And even if he does, that wouldn't mean what you're presuming it means. And even if it did, that would be completely harmless, unless he acted on it. Edit. Well, okay, fairly harmless. Fantasizing about a woman he knows in real life and going out of his way to search porn that facilitates that fantasy is far from harmless. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell for more videos. Also like the video if you enjoyed.